now for a needle of truth in a haystack of lies.
Your spirit living life, it doesn't begin when you die. It begins right now. It begins right now as you affect his consummated kingdom, right now, as you leave the flesh and gain the spirit. It starts now. It's not distant victory over sin. It's not like some distant, get a package 401k spiritual deal. It's right now. You know what I mean? It's in the moment.
That's the difference between a legalistic and a person who is on fire for the Lord, because legalism will say, well, I'm saved, and so I'm better than you. What somebody who has victory says is, that makes me like passionate about sharing in that. Because it's not about like, oh, well, we're all sinners and we're promised heaven and we just got to endure. But I literally have a power to overcome sin in my life that I want my friends to have, and I want my neighbor to have, and that becomes so empowering because it's just so relevant, like you said, like the authenticity of that. Listen, this is my nature, and I don't naturally go towards that anymore. So for whatever reason, my nature has changed. It's not my nature to walk into a room and look around and compare myself to people. It's not my nature anymore. Now, do I do that occasionally? Maybe, but it's not my nature. I don't gravitate towards that because God has changed that desire in my heart. God has transformed that. So now walking into a room, looking at people and thinking, what's going on in their life? Are they divorced? Are they yelling at each other? What's going on? Can I pray for them? What's going? Like, that's my nature now, to look at people and think, what's going on and how can I come alongside of them? That wasn't my nature before. My nature was selfish, and so something happened. Somehow the Spirit changed that, because and that's why, like the world says, people don't change, and that's true because the Spirit changes people. So you need a Spirit to lead you, or you won't change. You'll just go back to your own nature. And there's even testament of, when I look at an old man who's like 85 years old, and I don't know about you, Brock, but I'm sure you've observed this as well. I look at like a man that's like 85 years old, and like occasionally, I'll have a conversation with somebody like that at a gym, and what comes out of their mouth is very grotesque and perverted, and I just am so taken back by that, because in my mind I'm thinking, how are you 85 years old with no wisdom? Like, how did you live 85 years in this world and literally not have any wisdom? And I think it's because for that entire life they were just slaves to the flesh. We didn't change. Yeah. I'm that same person. And that's how that happens, is the same can have you literally not change a thing about you. And you think you're fine for 85 years of life. When I look at him, I think there's no wisdom in his life. There's no discernment. There's no character.
And your heart can break, because what the devil has done is he's robbed that person of a life of individuality, a life of fullness, a life of who that person really is in all its dimensions. And what really they've done is they've fallen into some weird, they've cocooned themselves, or they've stayed in some childish stage of life that they've never left and they've never developed. And that's really what the devil, of course, does, is he turns your narcissism and your selfishness into a cage. Locks from the inside. That's what he does. And that's what you're describing. And I know what you mean. It's almost a shocking thing to see when you see it.